What's up guys, it's Meg and welcome back to Meg After Dark. Today we're taking a look dead ahead to see what's coming on next week's episode of The Walking Dead. Today we're talking about our thoughts and predictions for season 7 episode 3 called The Cell. I am so friggin' excited for this episode, you guys. For one, it's gonna be a Dwight-centered episode. I love Dwight, loved him in the comics, really excited about seeing him on the show. I love Austin Emilio, he plays him so well. And it really looks like, based off of the 3 promos that I've watched, that this episode is really going to be about Dwight, and we're going to see how he is taking care of Daryl, how he interacts with Negan, how the hierarchy is in the sanctuary there, and how Negan rules his people. And I could not be more excited, for one, to see more Negan, although I don't know that we're going to see very much of him in this episode. I really think it's going to be focused around Dwight and Dwight's feelings, conflicted feelings, that is, about being there at the sanctuary and under Negan's thumb. And I'm pretty excited to see Daryl too. He's pretty out of his element here, you know? He's always kind of done his own thing. He's always been his own boss, you know? He doesn't do what other people tell him to do. Like, he's always been kind of his own person doing his own thing, and now he's been taken and he's a prisoner and he's forced to kind of conform and submit, and it's very out of the norm for him. And it'll be very interesting to see. You all know Daryl is one of my favorites, but also Dwight and Negan are like right up there as some of my favorite men on The Walking Dead as well. Not to mention they're all pretty hot. Okay. So, moving right along, I'm gonna discuss the 3 promos separately. So the first promo I'm gonna discuss here is the one where it's just Dwight eating lunch and he hears a commotion down at the Walker barrier. So this Walker scene where we see these 2 men, and they're all wearing sweatshirts like Daryl. They're like basically wearing a sweatsuit with a letter on it. And I'm interested to see what the letters mean. Like, is it the alphabet and you're like labeled each one and maybe you move up, you know, according to how well you do. I thought maybe it was like the first letter of your name, but I think Daryl's wearing an A, not a D, so I'm not exactly sure. But it looks like kind of these are the grunt workers. These are like the lowest men on the totem pole, right? So you start here pretty much as a prisoner, as like doing all of like the shit work. And one of the ways Negan protects the sanctuary is by this Walker barrier. And it's almost like a maze, you can see, as these guys are like weaving their way in, trying to put a new Walker there. Now, they're walking a walker with a bucket on its head, and they're trying to chain it up in a specific spot there. Now, all of these walkers chained up here are to prevent intruders from coming in, you know, unwelcome visitors. It's a good deal, but it's very dangerous trying to walk among them, it looks like. So we see Dwight, and he's just sitting there eating lunch, and he hears these guys doing this, and he kind of stands up, and at first I was like, what is this look on his face? You know, because he's just watching, but you can really tell he's like thinking about something. And I really, like, based on all of the promos I've seen, and we know from season 6 that Dwight is not happy. He does not want to be there. Him and his girlfriend Sherry were trying to escape from Negan, and Negan wouldn't allow it. And he brought them back into the fold, took Sherry back as one of his wives, and burnt Dwight's face for trying to leave with her. So Dwight knows that he can't leave, or at least he feels like he can't leave at this point. And he's worried about Sherry as well, which we see in a later promo. So he's forced to do Negan's bidding, and he's not happy about it. And I feel like the look on his face when he's watching this is he's very conflicted inside, where there's like this internal struggle going on as he hates Negan, probably with a passion, but he has to do his bidding. For example, he had to kill one of the people, ended up killing Denise, but had to kill one of them. Probably didn't want to, but he's being forced, so he, you know, I'm not saying he didn't enjoy it at this point because we don't really know what kind of guy he is, but you know, he knows what he has to do, and he has to do it in order to survive, and also he feels like probably to protect Sherry. And I think just seeing kind of the horror of being forced to like work among walkers and stuff, and he's just very disgusted by it. At least that's what I got from it. And he was watching this one particular walker kind of move up, and it's just like this repetitive like moving up and down on the pole, like just like standing up and then crouching back down, and it's just this awful, like, can you imagine if you didn't conform to Negan and you ended up being that walker, and just like the rest of your life, you're just there moving up and down on this pole. And I do think a lot of these people on the pole, he probably knew they are people who didn't work out in the sanctuary. There's one scene later on, and I'll point it out later in this breakdown video, but there's one scene where it looks like they're kind of in a kitchen and somebody is getting punched. He doesn't have a shirt on. It kind of looks like that guy might end up being the same walker that we see with the bucket on its head that the guys are trying to tie up out there. So it kind of seems like if you don't work out there, you might end up getting yourself killed and end up as one of the walkers at the barrier here. So promo number 2 is a sneak peek one. You may not have seen this one. It was on comicbook.com. And we see that Daryl is now watching this same scene unfold. So I'm not sure, like, I feel like Daryl must have been down there when, in the last promo, when Dwight was up above, and Dwight must come down and show Daryl more, because you see that these guys are struggling, and one of these walkers is almost on top of this guy, and he's having a really hard time beating him off, and Daryl is kind of standing there looking like, I gotta help this guy, you know, like, he's gonna get bit, and you can just see like he wants to help him, but he's not saying anything, you know, he can't do anything, there's a fence there. And so Dwight raises the crossbow and shoots the walker, essentially saving the guy, but also kind of getting a dig in at Daryl. And he says something like, "Ooh, I'm getting used to this now." And, you know, as we all know, this is Daryl's crossbow. Daryl doesn't really say anything, but it is a dig at Daryl. And he's also wearing Daryl's vest. He's got Daryl's bike. You know, Dwight is pretty miserable, I feel like, in the I almost said in the kingdom, in the sanctuary here. You know, he doesn't want to be here. He's very unhappy. He hates Negan. His girlfriend is one of Negan's wives. He can't see her, you know. He's in this awful situation. And I feel like, have you ever just been like so angry at something and then taken it out on somebody else, like, who had nothing to do with it? I kind of feel like Dwight is so miserable and like angry that he sees Daryl as an easy target, and he is having to kind of show Daryl the ropes anyways, and so it's easy to make fun of him, to dig at him, to be a dick to him, because it makes Dwight feel better, you know. It makes him feel better seeing someone who is even worse off than he is, right? I mean, that's kind of what I get from it. But he does give Daryl some words of wisdom here. So he sees Daryl kind of watching, and then he's just kind of looking down, like, you know, and he says, he shoves Daryl up against the fence, and I wrote it down. He says, "That's you, asshole, unless you're smart." And he's pointing to the walker that the guys just tied up there and took the bucket off its head. So this new walker, which I believe is probably a former member of the sanctuary here. And he says, "That's you, asshole, unless you're smart. Your choice. You can be like them, or me, or them." And I love that moment, because it's not just saying, like, you know, you can end up a walker or you can work. It's like, I know you don't want to be here either. I know this is like shitty, but you can either conform like I had to, or you can become a walker. Like, you don't have any other choice. But if you're smart, you're gonna act like you're conforming. You're going to put on a pretty friggin' convincing show that you're conforming and submitting. Otherwise, you're not gonna last very long here, and there's no other option. You don't get to leave. So you're either gonna be killed or you're going to conform. And hopefully Daryl is smart enough. I really think that somewhere down the road here, probably not really anytime soon, but I really feel like Daryl being there at the sanctuary along with Dwight, I feel like they will probably team up eventually. Like, right now they hate each other, they don't like each other, but I also think that Dwight sees himself in Daryl, right? Like, he sees himself there. Daryl doesn't want to be there either. He doesn't want to conform. He's, you know, I mean, obviously. So I think Dwight sees something in Daryl, and I think that he will use that to his advantage eventually down the road, where we know, comic spoiler, that Dwight eventually turns on Negan. And I really feel like Daryl will be a big help in that. And maybe they will, you know, do something together, escape together somehow to kind of turn the tides against Negan. That being said, will Daryl come out alive at the end of it? Probably not. I feel like probably he will definitely, I don't want him to die. I really like Daryl, but I feel like eventually down the road here, potentially an all-out war, he will be kind of a victim there. Like, he will not make it through that. At least that's kind of where I feel like it's going. I hope I'm wrong. I really like Daryl's character. I'm really interested to see how he acts here at the sanctuary, but at the same time, I just don't see him lasting through All Out War. Okay, this video is already getting pretty long. So promo number 3, this is the main promo that we saw at the end of episode 2. We see Daryl as a prisoner. We see Negan saying, "You don't scare easy." And I feel like Negan almost sees that as a challenge. You don't scare easy. All right, well, I can work with that. I'll make sure that you're scared, you know? And can I just say once again, Jeffrey Dean Morgan is freaking amazing as Negan. For one, I never knew Negan could be so hot. But also he's just like the most incredible actor. And it's like you love to hate him, but I can't hate him like at all. And I just love like seeing him walk through and everyone bow down to him. That part's amazing. But in saying that, we see more of how Negan runs things here and his rules, and apparently whenever he walks by, you bow down. You have to get on your knees and bow your head, you know, like he's royalty. And we see in this moment that Dwight, again, you know, he's like, everyone else is staring at the ground, not making eye contact, and as Negan walks by, he just kind of looks at him, and it's just that he's disgusted, and it's just like he's not conforming all the way, right? We also see Dwight out on his own on Daryl's bike, and it looks like he runs into someone. Not quite sure what else is going on there, but he definitely goes out on some sort of run, maybe gets into some trouble because he does have some blood on his face. He also looks like he may have crashed. In fact, I think we did see him crash in maybe the Comic-Con trailer. I do think we saw him crash on the bike, and that's why he's holding his ribs in this image. We see again Dwight forcing Daryl to kneel as Negan walks by. We hear then Sherry's voice over kind of the background, and she's saying, whatever he's done, there's always more. And we also see that Dwight goes looking for Sherry. We see her on the stairs, probably outside Negan's room. She's smoking, and he kind of comes around the corner. And you know he's not allowed to see her. They're not allowed to have any contact if she's one of his wives. So he's risking a lot to come and see her. And I think that she's pretty much saying to him, like, you need to go because, and I'm sure Dwight says something like, you know, he can't do anything else to me. You know, it's like, he's ruined my face, he's taken you, like there's nothing else he can do to me. And she's warning him, whatever he's done, there's always more that he can do to you, more that he can torture you with, right? So I am so looking forward to this episode. I'm gonna have like the biggest grin on my face the entire time. I'm so excited. So excited to have a Dwight-centered episode, you guys. Like, he totally deserves this moment, and Austin Emilio is amazing at playing him. So I am so excited, and I probably said the word excited like 20 times already. Let me know what your predictions are for this episode in the comments below, and we can talk more there. Otherwise, I will see you guys with my reaction video this Sunday for episode 3 of The Cell. I hope you guys have a great night. Bye.